Hey guys, Tim from Monarch Historical Fencing here to talk to you today about progress and why it is difficult sometimes to understand. Progress is a kind of complicated topic. It seems easy to understand at first. You start out doing something and then you get better over time. A good way to describe it is efficiency increasing over time. That's the way that we're going to talk about it in this video, at least. But that idea it can sort of hide a lot of problems along the way. See, when you start anything in life, but it's very obvious in things like sports and competition, you start with a certain level of expectation or skill, and then your general idea is, I'm going to increase that skill by practicing and doing more, and then we get this thought that I should always be improving. In fact, I drew some little graphs to kind of describe what I'm talking about. This right here, efficiency over time, is what a lot of people think progress looks like. But this is not what progress looks like. I think anybody who is a competitor of any sort knows that is not the case. And you will learn it one way or another over the course of your journey in your life. But if you're new to this process, this is what efficiency and progress looks like over time. Yeah, it's a little more complicated. So there's a couple extra labels on here, but let's look at the main graph here. So you see, you start out at a certain level of efficacy, and then you get a little bit better because you're learning stuff, and then maybe you plateau. These are plateaus, these straight lines here on your journey where it doesn't feel like you're getting better, it doesn't feel like you're getting any worse, but you're just kind of doing the same thing, and you might even be trying new things, but you're getting the same outcomes. Plateaus are natural, they're normal. It does not mean that you are not progressing. As you could see, with the passage of time, you're just getting closer to your end target. But after plateaus, before plateaus, and even after large spikes in growth, there is sometimes falling as well, where you actually get worse at what you're doing. And usually this comes with new information that you're learning. So let's say you're trying a new technique, or you're experimenting with different footwork, or trying to improve, your hand mobility, or the way in which you turn your body in order to land strikes or avoid thrusts or things like that. Whatever it might be. If you are gaining new information, you're not good at that. That's why it's new. So you're not going to instantly get better. In fact, because you are adding new information, you are going to probably get worse, sometimes severely worse, like up here, upon gaining new information. Because that new information needs to be integrated into the already successful ideas that you have and are training with or competing with. When you're at a plateau, it usually means that you're not gaining much new information and you're only gaining experience, which is useful, but isn't necessarily going to help you improve. But gaining new information allows you to set yourself up for these large upwards growth portions in the track and helps you move ever upwards on the track of progression. Once you master this new information, now it's very similar to the other information that you've mastered here, but you have more of it and you could use it in different situations, right? So with that, you'll get up, you'll plateau again, you might go down, you might go up, you'll probably plateau again, you might go up, you'll probably get worse or plateau again, and it'll keep going like that in a cycle over and over and over again throughout the entirety of your career. If you find that you are plateauing constantly, that's not really a good thing. You need to be experimenting with new stuff. Here's a few other ways that it could look. Your journey could look like this. You start out really slamming and doing a great job, and then because maybe you're just very good at your fundamentals and they click with you really well, but as soon as you start learning more complex stuff, you're like, oh crap, I'm really bad at this, and you get a little worse, and then finally that starts clicking, and then you're able to take these ideologies of all of these new things that you're learning and establish it as wonderful stuff for all the rest of the new things that you learn later on in your life. And it's an upward climb. This is very rare, but this can happen. A lot of people's journeys look like this, is especially if they are going into a club that is very, very talented. So you'll get a little bit of upward momentum because you're learning the fundamentals, but mostly if you're sparring with your clubmates and things like that, you're gonna be struggling all the way up because maybe the people at your club are just way, way, way better than you. Sometimes this is kind of like banging your head against the wall. It all feels like you're plateauing until, oh my God, you do pretty well, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're back to fighting the same level of people, and it feels like crap, but you do a little bit better, and then you get worse, and then you do a little bit better, and then your ego gets to you, and then it drops down because you're like, oh, I had everything figured out, and now I don't, and then you get over your ego, and then bam, now you're up here again, and you can kind of continue onward. These are just obviously fun examples of possible ways that things could go, or why this graph is happening in that way. But yeah, these are possibilities of how you could feel. And another one is this. I feel like a lot of good coaches can emulate this graph. Good coaches can get you to a point where you feel like you're exploding in skill, and then they will put you up against the next level person and you'll feel like crap about it, but then you explode in skill again and again and again. You keep going down and up on this ever upward trajectory that feels very explosive because you're having these large swings in skill. I feel like this is somewhat the desire that a lot of coaches, including myself, want to achieve. I want you to feel like you are progressing, and I want you to feel like you are definitely learning a lot of new things, but I don't want you to feel too big for your britches. So we put you against harder opponents as once you get up to a reasonable level of skill, and then we just keep doing that in a cycle. We don't want you to plateau at all, because a lot of people get burnt out really bad when they plateau. So teaching you new skills and forcing you to learn new things, while it doesn't feel good to get down to the bottom here, it does feel good when you overcome that and achieve it. And iterating on that cycle faster oftentimes makes people a lot more happy in their journey. And I have one final little graph here. This guy. We don't want anybody to look like this for most of the time. This represents somebody who has a lot of initial success in HEMA or any other learned activity, and then just kind of plateaus forever. And then maybe sometimes they'll learn a little new something and then get up a little bit. But there are a lot of people that just sit. They are sitting and not getting any better because they are unwilling to fight new people. They're unwilling to learn new information. They're unwilling to change their ideologies about how things work. We don't want you to do that. Good coaches want you to be constantly attempting to outdo yourself and to improve and to fight against harder opponents. Don't follow this chart if you can help it. Always be open to new experiences. Always be open to failing. Never be stagnant. We don't want to be stagnant. So those are some examples of the way in which people may or may not learn a new skill like HEMA or any other skill. And as you can see, there's a lot of variation. Everybody's journey is different. And you shouldn't feel like a lack of progress for a short time, or even a downward spiral for a short time, is the end of the world, and like you will never achieve anything ever again. That's not how it works. As long as you keep learning, keep trying, and keep trying to use all the new things that you learn in a context that is, like sparring or tournaments, you will improve and you'll feel better for it. Trust your coaches. For the most part, you want to trust your coach to be putting you in situations and recommending you for situations that you can get better at or learn from or achieve in. Not everything has to be a always up situation. In fact, some of the best things in life come from failure and from learning from the mistakes that you make along the way. You can't improve to the best of your ability unless you fail from time to time. Nobody's perfect. So take that to heart and remember, stay floaty out there. Keep working.